part of the schedule are you pleased with?
The part of the schedule I'm pleased with is circle time. And this is when we teach the lessons every morning.
If you could modify the schedule, what part would you change?
I will change the rules about diapers. In our schedule, we must change diapers soon after arriving.
Why?
Because 90% of the time the children comes with the same wet diaper. He's left with through the night. We have a lot of issues concerning diapers.
Do you plan large groups to hold children's attention?
I make sure I know what the children are interested in. I also bring toys that they like to make learning more fun, allowing the children to enjoy the activity while learning.
What techniques do you use while teaching to hold children's attention?
One technique that I like to use when teaching is to sing or song. When I see that the children's attention is going somewhere else.
How has your thinking about the place of large groups changed in the years you have been teaching?
When teaching in large groups, I now think more of the child's need and how to integrate learning and how to create an interactive learning experience.
When someone put, but not all, children have finished an old activity and are ready to begin the new activity, what suggestions do you have for when the class has to wait for an event?
In early history, we're not allowed to make children wait. We let them make the transition on their own and allow them to play while we let the other finish the activity. This way, the children won't get frustrated and have behavioral issues because of being bored or waiting.
When the class has to line up to walk in a line, what do you do?
We start to practice the routines from the first day to the child arrives to the class. I will say line up, and the child already knows that it's transition time and what we are soon leaving the classroom. The child sits in front of the door, and every child lines up, sitting down, waiting for the rest of the children. And then do the sweep and count, and go to make sure all the rest of the children are in the line and none of them is left behind. Once I have counted the children and make sure they are all in the line, I tell my students to stand, and we start to walk in the line.
How do you believe routines assist with classroom management?
It assists in helping organizations and makes it easier from transition without the children feeling stressed or overwhelmed.
How do you know when a routine needs to change?
I look at the children's behavior. It sees the time is taking me and find the way make the schedule continue to go smoothly and on the time as planned.
How do you work with a child who may have difficulties transitioning despite the routine?
I will help him or her when transition and continue follow the routines and stay consistent until he feels comfortable doing it on their own.
How do you make accommodation to be responsive and inclusive of children who have home language may be other than English?
I will learn more about their cultures and talk with the parents to learn more about their background.
What efforts will you be making to encourage general and emerging bilingual learning in the class?
I will label everything in my classroom in different language and add multicultural pictures and toys. I will also share information in their language to make the parents also feel welcome and to let them know the children belong in my classroom.
Volunteers in the classroom. What benefits do you see in the arrangement for the children?
I think the children will benefit because they will have more attention, help, and support with more adults in the classroom engaging with them.
For the volunteer child?
The child will see more parent involvement. They will learn that the parents care about their education.
And for the teacher?
I will have helping hands, act to supervise and engage with the children. They can also help with the routines and transition in the classroom.
What difficulties are there in having classrooms volunteers?
The difficulties will be teaching the volunteer what we do in the classroom, the schedule, the routines, and the transitions. The children might not want to listen or follow the routines because there is an unfamiliar adult in the classroom.
How do you address these difficulties?
Explain the schedule to the volunteer when arrive and continue doing what you usually do every day in the class. Allow the volunteer to participate, giving instruction on what you need them to help you if they don't mind helping. Also introduce the volunteer to the children when arrive to the classroom.
How does it work differently with beginning and regular volunteers?
It works differently in the beginning because you have to teach volunteer what we do in the early health start classroom. The children might not be too open to an unfamiliar face. Once they become regular volunteers, they will already know the schedule, routines, and transition without you having to show it to them. The children will recognize them and trust them when engaging with them.